Hi, I'm Morgan. Welcome to Way of Living podcast, where you will hear empowering women talking about how you shouldn't feel stuck in an unfulfilling career and how to follow your dreams. Life is short, live it to the fullest, and I hope you will feel inspired by their stories. A depression after university, a burnout working in the family business, being in psychotherapy for 10 years, and a divorce, Dora Prado went through a lot physically and mentally before healing herself spiritually. From Brazil, Dora is now a holistic therapist in London, helping others. In this episode, she talks about how the obstacles she met in her life helped her with where she is today, her spiritual journey, and how she created her new life in the UK. Hi Dora, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Good.
Well, thank you for coming here. And I usually ask my people to present themselves.
I am a talking therapist, a holistic talking therapist nowadays. It took me a long journey to get to this. And I work with emotional consciousness and self-awareness through the holistic therapies.
You're Brazilian.
I'm Brazilian, live in the UK, in London.
How do you find this so far?
This is something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to live, I don't know for how long, but I wanted to spend more time really living in London. So it's a kind of a dream come true. But reality is not as we picture. It's good. I love London. I still love London, but it's not as easy as I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's a hard life. It sounds fun on paper. It is fun, but it's hidden by a lot of hardship. How long have you been living in London for?
Now, about 4 years, 3.5, 4 years, something like that. I've been coming and going a lot through the years. And this is why I thought it was going to be easy, because I knew people from other times that I spent a long period of time here. And I thought that would be, just every time I came, I would see them. And I thought it was, okay, it's just, I'm going to be there for, indefinitely. But it's not, because people have their lives and everything. When you leave here, it's different than coming for a short period.
Yeah. So you're a holistic therapist?
Talking.
Yeah.
I say talking therapist because when I say therapist in the UK, people think about massage and other body therapy, body center therapy, and it's about talking and it's about emotions, spirituality, changing mindset from inside out. So that's why I say it's a talking therapy, so people understand what I'm talking about.
Your background is completely different. You studied advertising at university back in Brazil. And after that, you worked on your family's business. Can you talk a little bit about your background and what you've done before?
Yes. So talking about changes, my path changed 2 times. 3 times. 2 times that was on purpose, and 1 time just life imposed that to me. So I studied advertising at the uni. That was something that I always wanted to do. By the end of uni, I realized that I didn't really want my dream career anymore. I decided I didn't like it anymore. It was all that I wanted. The uni, I loved it. I enjoyed a lot, all of the assignments and everything, but that wasn't the life I wanted anymore. So I got really lost. And I had a period of depression. I didn't believe that was the case, but my parents insisted that I saw a psychiatrist at the time. I took antidepressants and then I was fine. So that was really lucky that I had parents really looking, really close and looking, because I didn't believe that was the case. And then I came to London to find a new path, but it had to be something with communication. That was the only thing that I thought that I liked. So I spent a year here. I didn't find it, and I went back to Brazil. And I started working for my family business, doing the communication and all to do with advertising, trade fairs, things like that. Until my mom got sick. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and it was really fast. And once she passed, that's the second one that life threw to me. I just took her role. And for years I was doing administration, and I was taking care of all of the departments, getting the flow together, organization. And my dad was, he's the head, and he was out doing something else for another a startup we had, and we sold because it was too much at one point. But I was doing that for a long time, and that was what life threw at me, and I thought I was good at that, so I was doing until I had a burnout because I was too much into, this is something that I learned later about my personality, that I'm perfectionist, and I get really, into having it perfect, and all the emotional stress of grieving at the same time. There was one day when I just physically couldn't go back to the office.
Just like that, just in one day, it just happened?
Yeah, it was, I was angry all of the time, and I was tired and stressed. My relationship with my dad was good outside the office, but in the office it was really hard. I kept complaining. At the same time, there was another thing. I was dealing with a failing marriage. I was married for 2.5 years, and there was a lot of stress between us. When I came home, I would complain a lot, and he'd say, just leave, do something else. And I couldn't think about anything else I could do. I said, well, no, this is my family's business. And this is what I know what to do. This is not an option. But then when I got physically exhausted and I couldn't, I just quit. I said, I don't know what's going to happen, but I have to quit. And as I was healing, and then I got into a divorce, so I was getting rid of everything that wasn't working for me. Through a period of time, I was trying different things for career. I had no idea what to do. And at the same time, I was trying to heal myself. So I was going everywhere, to acupuncturist, to psychologist, to theta healer, to homeopathist, worked with Bach flower therapists too. So I was going everywhere to get a little bit of this, and I loved yoga and meditation. I had been doing since 1999, so I got more into it at that time, and studying all of these things just to heal myself and looking career-wise elsewhere. And then I was in a new relationship which worked. It was good, it was calm, and I had time to look into myself. And then people started asking, so why don't you do these holistic things? Pick one and do this, because you keep giving us, because when people said, oh, I'm going through this or that, I'm feeling this and that, I go, oh, have you tried this? I have someone to refer to you, he's great, tried this. I say, no, I'm just doing that for myself. I can't understand myself, how can I do that to someone else? And then I got to a point, it was at the same time when this other relationship ended, I felt that I needed to do something, and I could do anything because there was nothing holding me in a place or in a position or anything. I could do anything. So I decided to take St. James Walk at Camino de Santiago.
In France to Spain.
Yes. During that walk is when I realized, oh, yes, this is my passion. I know a lot because I've been studying that for myself, and I never gave it credit. So I better just get some diplomas, some professional education, so I can do that professionally. And that's when I decided to incorporate that as a profession.
When you decided to go to France and cross the country, why that walk?
Okay. St. James Walk is well known in Brazil as a spiritual walk. It's a pilgrimage. It is the spiritual walk. I've always wanted to do that since I was a teenager, I think. But I always imagined myself doing that with someone. And over the years, it changed. I had a friend who always wanted to do that. Another friend's mother who had a plan to do that. And I was always, dreaming about doing that. Who would go with me? And before that relationship in question ended, I was talking about that with him. But he has a conventional job, so he couldn't just leave for a month or so. People say that the Camino calls you. It's not you who decide to take it, it calls you. And for some reason, at that period of time, I kept meeting people talking about Camino. And my dad had a girlfriend at the time who I really love. She's amazing. And she was first, out of nothing, she was telling me about the time when she took Camino, and she was very young. She had just divorced. She had 2 small children. She had a big loan because she was building her own purpose-built interior design shop at the time. And she was out of shape. So everything was against her, and she did it. And I was like, okay, and I'm waiting for what? And then when that boyfriend and we broke up, I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to buy a ticket, I'm going. And within a week, 10 days, I bought a ticket and left. I walked for 36 days, and I was going to stay in London for 2 weeks. I stayed for 6 weeks because Batch Flower Remedies is from the UK, from near London, in Oxfordshire. And I decided to take all of the levels to make you a professional on that.
So you did this in 6 weeks while you...
So I did the training here, and then when I rebooked my flight back to Brazil, then my sister asked me, so why are you coming back? You're always happier when you're in London. And that made me think, and I decided that if this is a new career, I had to be here. I could be anywhere, and this is here. Then I went back to Brazil briefly because the last level of the diploma was going to take too long to take place here in London. And in Brazil, they had it just next month. So I went back to Brazil, took the last level there. And after the last level in Batch Flower Therapy, you have a long path. You have to write essays, you have to take an exam, and you have to take the supervision clients. So you have to take 6 clients throughout a period of 3 to 6 months for free.
Yeah.
For free. Mm-hmm. And have it reviewed by a superior teacher. So I had a medical doctor who's also a Batch Flower practitioner, and she was overlooking everything and questioning and giving me tips, and I would go back. And so you have to see the client from 3 to 6 months, depending on how they develop. So once a month, and it's 6 clients. But then, and I had my friends, I had friends of friends or family from friends, and I had all those required, and I had a little bit more to get more practice and get more known. And then I came back to London, and I was still doing that because you can do that online and send all of the supervision to your teacher or professor. So I did that for a period of time. And even here, I took some other clients here to get to know me. I took them for free for a period. Then I started building my career, and I got the other holistic therapies, and I was trained on theta healing. I was formally trained as a meditation guide just because some places ask for that, but I don't think that course to be a trainer or a tutor of meditation means anything near, if you compare that to all of the years of doing that myself, going to different courses, different modalities. That means a lot more than that short course to tell you that now you're accredited to guide. So
when you did all of this, the Batch Flower Remedies, and then you started doing new training for different type of therapies, first of all, how did you really support yourself? Because it takes a long time to build a clientele, have some trust, word of mouth. I think it works a lot of like that. Yes. How did you support yourself?
Yeah, well, I was lucky to have savings. So part of my personality being a perfectionist, I have, spreadsheets on my finances and savings. And that kept me for a long time before I break even and start, making money. Yeah, that took about, 2 or 3 years. Yeah, 2 years to pay for all of the education, because it's not cheap to get education. And you have to live on top of that. And I chose to live in London. Yeah, you have to thrive. I see, so some people, when they make the transition, they do things in parallel. I just don't work that way. Because when I was working with my family through that period, I was like, no, do something different. And I don't know what else to do. I'm so involved in that there's no space in my mind to try something different, to learn something different, get trained. And that's the way my personality works, my brain works. I need to do one thing at a time, meaning one career at a time. I just lived and breathed my work then. And that's another thing. That's what I decided to do and what I was looking for. And I finally found a career that would reflect the lifestyle I want. So I didn't want to be a workaholic anymore. I didn't want to wake up in the middle of the night because in my dream, I just had a solution to a problem and I need to write it down before I forget. Now I can separate my work from my personal life. I can organize my schedule the way it's convenient to me.
When you were talking about your burnout and how your ex-husband were like, just leave, just quit and leave. And you were like, but I don't know what else I want to do. I'm good at this. And so you felt like before, back in the days, you were really, it was hard for you to see outside your own head. But now, and now it really feels like you are actually thinking outside the box and you can see so many possibilities. How did you do that?
When I was working there, I wasn't conscious of my own emotions. I have always looked for self-development, for spirituality, all of this, but I wasn't literate in emotions. And I just couldn't handle that. So I thought I was, but I wasn't, and I couldn't see anything. I was just, just into that. And that's what I gained. I gained this awareness of who I am and what I really like. I thought I liked that because I was good. I'm good at spreadsheets. I'm good at organizing the flow of work, of making rules. But that makes me utterly stressed and angry when things don't happen the way I need or the way I planned. And this lifestyle I have now, this career that I didn't know that I could do, I thought it was just something that I loved and that I would go to someone to have it done to me. And then I discovered that I can do that. So now I know who I am. I know what I can give to people. I know how I can help them. So it gets easy. So now I don't really plan. I wish for, I want something to do with my career, and I plan a lot as in projects, but life drives me and I allow it. So throughout the years, it went from one-to-one online clients to workshops, from workshops to collaborations and events on spirituality, and then back to a more not cognitive, but more talking about emotions than spiritual. And this year I had plans of collaboration with other people, but it was all in person. And it was like, oh my God. So now I'm back to online and back to, okay, what life wants me to do now. So it's easier because I know how I want to help people and what my skills are and what skills I need in order to do something different. So for example, now I'm training on the Enneagram personality type. It's amazing. I love it. And it's another tool that I needed to help people understand, like I understand now what my personality tries to achieve that's not very good to me, and as in my perfectionism.
Because I was going to ask you, like, have you learned how to ease on your perfectionist trait of personality? Because I feel like when you're perfectionist like that, it's closed a lot of doors. But have you tried to ease on this?
Yes. So the first time I came across the Enneagram, it was about 5-6 years ago, and it's not the same school I'm studying at. So I took a test. The school I'm studying is more a discovery than a test. But I took a test and I discovered that I'm a perfectionist. And reading about it, because of course I knew I was reaching for perfection, but I didn't realize that not everyone sees the world the same way. I thought we all saw the world the same way and we just made different choices sometimes to annoy each other. And studying that, I could understand why I have some reactions and why I feel a certain way. Now I can see that coming, and I can realize when I had a quick reaction that wasn't very good, or I got, annoyed or something. I can recognize where it comes from, and I can, take a step back, take a breath, and okay, I understand. I don't need to react in a certain way, and I don't need to be perfect, because I believe that that's what's expected from everyone, not only myself. It's not that I needed to be perfect because of something. No, I just thought that everyone was, aiming for perfection. And now I understand that that's not the case. And I can just, okay, tone it down. You don't need everything with labels. You don't need, I had my wardrobe with labels.
Wow, that's good. That's a little bit OCD.
Almost, yes. I just thought that, okay, this is going to make it easier to, organize everything. So I had labels, and now I know where to put. Okay, now in London I don't have it, and I still know where to put things.
It seems like you worked so much on yourself before you actually started helping people. How long did it take from the time you divorced your first husband to the time you were like, okay, I'm gonna start having paying clients? How long did it take?
3 years.
Oh, wow.
3.5 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, but this work came from years and years. Not, I was healing after the divorce, but so I was doing that with more time, because I had a problem I had to heal from, and I had time because I wasn't working anymore, just trying different things. I never had a job after that, so I could research. But this work, I was on psychotherapy for 10 years. I went into psychotherapy after my mom died, because when that happened, I went to my doctor and said, can I have some antidepressants again? And he said, you're not depressed, you're just grieving, just feel it. And then I went into therapy, and I stayed with her for 10 years. And it was very good, because I worked the grieving, and then I was working with my failing marriage, and my stress at work, my relationship with work, and my new, okay, now what do I do with my life? So there was always something else coming. I needed someone to help me make sense of all of that. And so it was a long way.
A long journey to get where you are today. Can you tell us a little bit about the difficulties to build your own business?
Yeah, it's not easy. I think I had different cycles. It demanded different approaches. I had a brand. Now I'm not sure that still what I want as my image. So maybe I'm thinking about changing it. For a period of time, social media was big. It got me lots of clients here. So in Brazil, it started with word of mouth, and then here a little bit, because I was working with Brazilians living here, and it spread. And then I went to a clinic a little bit, but then Instagram exploded, and it was big, and then all of a sudden it just hit me. So Instagram is not showing me anywhere. Then I started to work with different clinics instead of just one, so that needed a little bit more of image work, because there was me and not myself at a clinic. I had a huge difficulty to understand how to explain to the English audience what I do and why it's good, and especially because English don't talk about emotions. And it was really difficult for me to find the wording to explain and attract them to open up and come talk to me and do something about what they're feeling, as opposed to bottle up and just pretend that everything's fine. So eventually I hired a PR to help me with that. It was really good. It was a relief. Okay, so that's how.
Yeah, help sometimes is welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about the therapies that you do? Because it seems like you're doing a lot. You have a lot on your plate now.
So I use different techniques of holistic therapies, one of which is the Bach flower therapies, which was the first one I got certified with, which are kind of a cross between essential oils and homeopathy. It's something you take orally to harmonize your emotions and your personality traits. I work with theta healing, which is spiritual technique, but also brain training, mind training to release some limiting beliefs, some personal blocks and traumas. I use meditation. I also help people who never meditated to find a method that best fit their lifestyles. I give Diksha, which is similar to Reiki from India. I work with tuning forks, which are some instruments to tune musical instruments, but they have specific sounds, and those ones are very spiritual sounds that will harmonize your aura, your energy field. And now I'm studying the Enneagram. I started last year. I was going to be certified by the end of this year, but because of COVID, it's going to take another 6 months, I think. We're doing what we can online, but most of it happens in person, so we're going to have to wait a little bit. And what I do is I incorporate everything, and I treat each person as a unique person, because what you're going through is unique. What your life and what your personality is very unique, and what you believe is also different to everyone else. So depending on what you need, we build a path, and we can use one or all or many, sometimes 2 techniques in one session. Sometimes every week you have a different one until we get to a point. Depends on how you need to grow. I also do workshops now. I don't know when it's going to go back, because then workshops should be in a studio or something like this. The workshops are more about stress, burnout, how to balance life in all of the roles we play, new moms. And so I collaborate a lot with other people. So I had this a physiotherapist from Brazil, and she was here, and we did something about new moms, and she was talking about bladder and other body physiology, what happens to you after that, and why people. And then I was covering why people don't talk about it, and allowing, being open about it. And she was doing the physiology of it.
The final question I always ask at the end of the podcast is, what's your definition of success? What is success for you? And do you feel successful?
Success to me is being content and finding peace with what you have. I consider myself successful. Of course, there's always something else that you want in life, the next chapter, but I'm happy with what I have achieved and what I have now, how I live. So yes.
What is your next chapter? You don't know. Well, that's great. That's a great final point. I don't know.
That's another thing, being open to what comes.
Yes, that is true.
I think I spent a lot of time thinking about how life should be.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just accepting what life throws at me. So I think that's also a part of success.
It is. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
And I'll speak to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Voila, that's the end of this episode, and I want to thank Dora for telling her story. Please share it on your social media, and it might reach someone who will feel inspired to follow their dream. Don't forget, life is short. Live it to the fullest.